Hi, and welcome to the September episode of Patchwatch. The weather became more settled this month, and there were a good number of sunny days, even if they were a little windy. Some of our summer visitors are still present, with chiffchaffs and willow warblers heard singing on several days. September is usually the start of the fungi season, but this seems to be a bad year, and they are noticeable only by their absence. It is thought that the ground is too dry after the hot summer, and even though it was a wet August, it hasn't been enough to create the ideal conditions for the fungi to grow. Whilst there has been a distinct lack of fungi this year, the slime mould seems to be doing well, with lots of it about. This one is delicately named Dog's Vomit Slime Mould, although it's not obvious why at this stage of its development. The slime mould is made up of amoeba-like organisms that live together in a community and are even able to move about. You won't be able to see this as it's too slow, but if you walk away for a few hours and then come back, the slime mould will have changed its shape. Slime moulds are extremely short-lived, and it is after the so-called scrambled egg stage that the slime mould earns its rather ghastly name, but it is a pretty accurate description of what it looks like. A great place to look for fungi is a small piece of woodland that sits just behind the hospital. Although it isn't very big, there is a surprising amount of wildlife that uses the area. As I was walking around looking for any sign of fungi, I suddenly remembered a place where I'd seen some great views of hornets feeding on the sap of turkey oak in 2017. So I stopped to have a look, and sure enough, they were there once again. I don't know what is so special about this particular tree, but it is the only one I have found that attracts these superb insects. It also attracts many different species of flies, which would normally be preyed upon by the hornets, but they are completely ignored as the hornets get their fix of the sap. Being a highly social insect, the hornet is soon joined by a second as they both feed on the leaking sap and even come out for a bit of a clean-up before going back in for more. Whilst hornets belong to the wasp family, they are much more docile than common wasps and are much less likely to sting you. In fact, a hornet's first defence is to fly at you and bump you in an effort to scare you off, but if they do resort to stinging, they pack quite a powerful punch. I spotted this female garden spider sitting out in the open in an oak in the main wood. As I watched, she started making strange movements on her web, and I realised she was trying to attract a male for mating. Knowing how many female spiders end up eating their mates, I was intrigued to see how spiders mate, so I quickly set up the camera and started to record what happens. It turns out that male garden spiders mate very nervously. The female has an area on the underside of her abdomen called an epigene, which is where the male needs to transfer his sperm sac. So she positions herself to make the epigene accessible, and the male slowly makes his way closer and readies himself to make the transfer. You can see that the male is being extremely wary and tries to make the transfer as quickly as possible to try and avoid being eaten. But this one seems to be too hasty and has to make many attempts to pass on his genes. I end up spending just over 3 hours watching the male try again and again, even falling off on a number of times and having to climb back up to start from scratch once more. I don't know if the male succeeded in the end, but after the male fell off yet another time, the female seemed to lose interest and just simply wandered off, leaving the male uneaten and probably a little less nervous. It is surprising what you can find sometimes. I stopped for some lunch in a spot overgrown with brambles and nettles on a fairly mild day in the middle of the month. I was sat on a log eating my sandwiches with a nice steaming cup of tea by my side when a sudden movement caught my eye. I turned to see what it was and found only the second common lizard I have recorded on the patch. I also spotted this willow emerald resting on a branch. A decade ago, there had only been 2 records of willow emerald in the UK, one in 1979 and one in 1992. A single individual was then recorded in 2007, followed in 2009 with a sudden boom in records, after which they then started to spread across the country. In 2015, they were only recorded in the far southeast of the county, but in 2016 they made it halfway across, and were here in the west of the county in 2017. They are one of the last types of flies to be on the wing, flying from September through to the end of October. Once mated, the female will seek out willow branches that overhang water and lay their eggs directly into the wood. One of the most important plants for insects at this time of year is ivy. It is one of the last to come into flower, and it is a great source of nectar and attracts wildlife from far and wide. It is often mistakenly thought to damage the trees it grows on, but this isn't true. Ivy can cause issues in high winds, but it doesn't strangle the tree or deprive it of any nutrients, and it isn't parasitic. In fact, ivy should be cherished for its great value for wildlife, as it provides food and shelter for a great range of species. This section sits alongside a busy cycle path, but it is definitely a hive of activity. The harlequin ladybird makes use of the ivy flowers. There has been a great deal of rubbish and speculation in the press recently, even reports that they can transmit STDs, but they pose no threat to us at all. Many different hoverflies also make use of the ivy at this time of year, including this one. Officially, this is Mythropa flora, but since the publication of a very popular field guide a few years ago, it has increasingly been called the Batman hoverfly due to the markings on the thorax, the area between the head and the body, looking a little bit like the Batman logo. I found a new species feeding on the ivy this year with this ivy bee. This species was first recorded in the UK in 2001 and has slowly been colonising across the country ever since. They are only present for about 6 weeks each year, which coincides with the flowering of the ivy, on which it almost exclusively feeds. They are a type of mining bee and will even nest in lawns if the soil is loose enough. The most numerous insects using the ivy is the common wasp, the insect everyone loves to hate. But wasps do play a large role in controlling insect numbers through predation or parasitisation. Someone once worked out that for every 10,000 insects laid, only 6 will reach the adult stage, the rest failing mostly due to wasps. They are also a much underrated pollinator, and the hundreds using this ivy are also pollinating it as well. There are 2 species of so-called yellow jackets regularly recorded on the patch. German wasps are usually a little larger than common wasps and have subtle differences in the markings. The best place to look for differences is the face, and the anchor-shaped marking on these ones show they are common wasps. The Germans only have 3 spots instead. And that is all for this month. Thank you for watching, and please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to keep up to date with the latest news from the patch.